Hey everybody, this is Envious Gamer with Retronomicon, and this video is just to show you how I made the Helltaker Waifu attack video, at least the editing. And in case you want to make your own videos or just interested in how this was done, here I have my Adobe Premiere Pro program. This is a program that I used. I've also used on some other music videos, like the Betty Boop video. I used DaVinci Resolve to create that one because the transitions were really easy to make in that one. It just flowed really easily compared to Premiere's way of using After Effects, etc. It's not all built into the same program like DaVinci Resolve is. And I've also used Sony Vegas, even though I went away from that because Premiere Pro is just a lot more full featured and just handle things better. The nice thing about using Premiere Pro is that it can use GIFs very well. Resolve does not. Resolve, you will have to convert it into another file format in order to use them, like an MP4, etc. So let's just get right into it. Here I have my timeline. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and go here to the start. So we have her right there, and she's dancing back and forth. I muted the audio because whenever I click, it's gonna give like a loud buzzing noise, and I don't want that on the to get picked up. So I've turned it on right here when it starts. This is when it starts with the tick-tock with her hips, right? So the way this was done, let me mute that again so I can move around. Uh, this retro alpha is just an alpha JPEG for my watermark there of my channel. That's all that is. So here, this was actually a loop that goes just one way. It goes from the left to the right. Now to make it kind of look like she's going from right to left, what I did is copy this over, right? Made another clip there, and then I used a horizontal flip on that. And the way I did that was just using Premiere Pro. Is to go to Effects, look up Flip, and add a horizontal flip to that. Just drag and drop it right on that. And what that does is just flips the video. So here she starts on the left, here she will start on the right, and boom, she goes down. Boom. So it looks like she's hitting the beats right, left. I use her hips as a reference for the beats. You can, if you zoom in to the timeline, you can see the beats are right there. You see where it kind of cuts right there, and there you see how it's on that beat. That beat, that middle beat is right where she's at the center, so pretty much on every second beat, I want that cut, right? And to get that to actually be perfect, where I can cut it there, I can right click on it, go to speed or duration, and I can manually, in this case, I had to put it up twice as fast so that she can kind of move with that beat and so it can be a little bit more fluid in the animation. I can also reverse the speed if I want to go back and forth, which is great for looping. To do certain loops when you only have it going one way, you can reverse the speed with the copy clip, with the second clip, and have it go backwards. So it looks like that character is going back and forth. So that's one way to create a loop using Adobe Premiere here, right? Again, I just right clicked, went to speed and duration to do that. Another way you can do that, if you press R, you can use the retiming tool. And what this does is that you can kind of on the fly change the duration and the speed of the clip. So I just made it a little bit longer there, and because the clip is longer, she moves a lot slower. So let me make some copies of that. Go back to selection tool, I'm pressing V. Move that out of the way. I'll bring that back, it doesn't matter. Alright, press Control C to copy. Move my timeline there. I pressed up or down, just move up. You can also manually click where you want it and press Control V to paste. And I'll paste it. So I'm just gonna toggle that so you don't see that. And you can see, it's hard to kind of see, but she does move slower if I do that. If I make it shorter, and let me see if I can do the same thing with this one here. Make this shorter, go here. I'm gonna delete that and just copy those two clips together, so that's one full loop. And just copy and paste it. And look how fast she actually moves. So the retiming tool automatically lets you speed up or slow down the clip to match where to match that duration, right? That of the actual clip itself. So it's one way to get your clips to hit the actual beats down here by using that. Press R and use the retiming tool that Adobe has here. So I am going to just undo all that, Control Z. Quick way to fix it, because I don't want to mess this up anyway, so I like keeping this. Alright, so I'm gonna save here because it actually auto-saved. So this is left or right of her hips swinging. Then let's move forward here to where it actually changes to this one clip. So on that clip, I wanted to kind of change that. Damn, this is loud. So I kind of want to change on that beat right there. I'm sorry if it's so loud. Let me just mute it. I'm just going to mute it for here. So on that beat right here, see the crossfade there? I wanted to change on this beat right here, which is a little bit of a delay to it, so that when you hear, by the time you hear it, this clip will actually change. So this is just a simple Cerberus GIF that she kind of dances, moves around a little bit, right? Her tails move from right to left. And the way I will do this clip is have her start out that beat there. That's what the beat is. She goes to the right. She goes back to the normal position. So this is the regular start, which is right after this frame. So I'll cut this frame, the next frame, and then loop it by pasting the other one. Make a copy of this frame, of this clip, I'm sorry, and just do the same thing. There's a cross transition here, which is just the default transition that Adobe Premiere has, and I did this on this clip so that it kind of fades into the next clip easier, just look better, because the way this animation was done is not very smooth. If I want to make it more smoother, I use the retiming tool and actually make the duration a little bit shorter and try to match the beats, just to make it a little bit faster. But it was really the timing on this clip was really weird, because it was really kind of, it was missing frames in between in the animation, kind of. It was kind of weird animation. So here, of course, there was the beat where it drops and goes dun 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 dun, and then comes Cerberus here. And this clip, I had to make it a lot bigger so that she fits right in the middle. So the scale is actually 456 on this one, just to make it big there. So you can change the scale using this back and forth. So do that. And again, this is just a loop right here. Goes all the way to the end here. And then next clip. So the cut was right here. And the next clip happens. Let's see where that cut was. Yeah. Then the next frame. Okay, so the cut was right there where her tail's up like that. The next frame starts where the tail is swinging to the left. It's just weird. There you go. I have my timeline kind of weird there. I was trying to stick to a timeline. When that happens, press S, come here, take that off, and now it doesn't get stuck to any timeline. That's a great way to just move things around and get it to actually fall on the beat. Take off the like snap. The other thing you can do to get more precise control on exactly where, because right now if I move left to right, you see how it moves the whole frame, but look how it skips all that audio in between. Looks easy. It's better to look at it zoomed up. You see how it kind of skips that, this whole area in the middle. You can get access to that by going to your wrench, going down to show audio time units. You see how it shows this right here, and now you have precise control, real precise control on where you want to move your clips. If you press shift and move around left and right, it moves by fives, and you can see it moves a bit quicker. But this gives you precise control where you want to place the clips on your timeline, so you can hit those beats and not be off. Of course, keep this off when you do that, because if not, you can't really place your clips correctly. You will still try to snap to the frames as before. Um, Let me take that off, just to move around the timeline a lot faster and easier. Again, you can use a spanner or that wrench icon there, which is right here next to this time code and underneath the picture, and go to show audio units. Let me turn that off, and now I'm back to just moving frame by frame. All right. So this was cut there, and then the loop starts with the next one, which are tail swinging. You see, the way I cut this one was I wanted to keep that frame for a moment, and then the tail swings. It just makes it, in this particular case, it just made it look a little bit smoother with the way the animation was. So let's move up here. Right here you can see it switches. So I cut that clip short, and I wanted Azazel to be on that beat itself. So let's see here. Boom, that beat. So let me turn on the volume so you can hear that. It's gonna be loud. All right. So that's where the beat changes. Let me mute that. Let's see here. You know what? Let me change this just for the moment and adjust the audio by -20. There you go. That's a little bit more manageable. I'm sorry. So right there, it hits that beat, and she changes. Again, the same thing. You cut it where you think the loop will happen. Use the retiming tool to make them hit the beats that you want to hit, and you just go on with that. Let me just mute it, and you go on with that. This one I kind of messed up here, which ended up thinking over it. I know her animation here kind of gets screwed up a bit when she moves. She kind of goes two different directions here. It makes her look kind of weird sometimes. But then I just kept it because I thought, well, she's taking notes, she's learning how to groove, and I think that kind of matches her character. So I was like, you know what, I'll just leave that in there as a little kind of like Easter egg type of thing, because it just made sense to me. So I didn't really bother to like cut it up and fix it, because I actually liked it. I thought it actually was made her look like she's learning and taking notes of how Cerberus and the other girls are dancing, you know? So again, the way I timed her was, of course, she hits that beat and she hits that beat with her right, her hips. Again, the cut on this one wasn't done correctly all the way because you can see she moves different ways. But I left it there like that. Let's see if I can get a better example here. Here she's gonna change. Boom. So let's see how that sounds. And boom, we have Modius here. So with Modius here, mute. She switches here. This is just a hard cut. Get her dancing. The beats are, she goes back like that, and I use her hips as a reference, and she goes forward right there. That's where the other beat is when she hits forward there. She goes back and forth, and then we have a cut when her hip hits the right there. Next cut has one frame of her with the beat, with her hips to her right, and then she moves to the left. So that's where it was cut. And then goes back and forth, back and forth. Again, this is just the same clip. Here, after cut correctly, where she hits the right there, and she loops back, and then just copied and paste on the timeline to give her that kind of back and forth look where she loops. Again, hitting the beats on the timeline, which I put on the volume so that it wouldn't be so crazy on everybody's hearing. So we have that. Then over here switches to Justice, hitting those beats. Again, her hips, I used her hips as a reference. And again, I cut it when her hips hits a beat right there. I cut it, and then I'll go on and make a loop with the rest of her. So we have her. This one was pretty interesting here. This one had to do a little bit of retiming. All of them have to have some kind of retiming. She's at 80%. This one's on 80%. You can actually see it right there. So the first clip you saw in the beginning of the video, that was 200%. This one's at 80% speed. And that's so she can hit those beats and it looks natural. If I do it too slow, of course, it's doesn't look correct. If I do it too fast, then it looks like she's having some kind of attack. It's having spasms or something. So this was at 84%. And this is where Melina comes in. That beat. So again, I use her hips as a reference and I cut right when she hits a beat, either on the left or the right. So that the loop would be easy to make. See, I cut on that beat. And then over here, she's just going back to the right. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I used her here because of the way the beat sounds and her taking a sip at every beat. And then we go back and forth here. Here I was tinkering with this timeline earlier because I was doing something for later on in the video. So I left that there. Here's another one where Justice comes in. Let's see how that sounds. Let's hear how that sounds. This was pretty tough because in this case my reference was her chest, obviously. And this one I had to speed up to 160 because the beat was so fast. so you can actually hit that beat every time she pumps her chest. And cutting is the same thing. I just wait until her chest hits that beat and then I cut. I think it was on the down beat that I cut when her chest was down. In this case. And again, I loop it up. So let's see who's the next girl here. I believe it's Lucy. No, it's Sejadra right here. So this one, I sped it up to 160 to match that beat. I cut when she hits that beat right there. And she moves back and forth. Mute that. And then here's when it gets interesting. When the beat changes and gets much faster. And I had to recut the loop and make it again there. With a much faster speed. I wonder what's the duration on the speed on this one. 350. So made that a lot faster, and it looks like this sound. That was a little bit tougher because the timeline really wasn't helping so much. I had to use my ears to see where those beats hit, and then keep changing the speed of the clip to actually match the beat and how she dances. And then of course we changed to Lucy here. Of course her hips as reference point. She hits those beats. I cut when she hits a beat to make that loop. And it goes back and forth like that. That was 99%. So this one I really didn't have to change so much. Just a little tiny bit just to remap it, just to hit that beat. Because she was even though it's 100% is normal speed, even that little percentage, that 0.01%, it accumulates, and eventually she's gonna get completely offbeat. And at first you won't see it until the third loop, the fourth loop, and then you can start seeing that she's getting off beat, and that's going to ruin the rest of your video because now you're kind of making everything else either off beat a little bit, or you got now have some kind of like weird. The people watching the videos are gonna notice it just like I did, where the character gets completely out of sync. Even with that 0.01%. So here, of course, we have Modius coming up. So that's where Modius comes in. Again, I use her hips as reference points for the beats. Match it up with the timeline here and what I'm currently hearing and how it looks. And her speed is 80% to match that. I cut right when she's on the beat. This makes it easier to kind of loop it. And then we have that. And of course here we finish with Modius. And we have my favorite girl coming up. And the same thing I did with here with Pandomonica here. Yeah, I forgot her. I should have added her, but I didn't. And I feel bad for that because she's like my favorite. So, well, she's here now in our memories and our hearts with her cup of coffee, enjoying life. So here again, same thing. Cut it. Make sure she hits those beats. In this case, she also hits a beat when she blinks. It's a good reference point. Again, I use her hips. And then eventually she'll become that sadomasochist. And then we end the video with her. So now she's in the video. I still plan to try to see if I can make something. I have an idea of a video to make with her, but um, I'm so backed up right now with so many different projects. But I have a video to actually make with her, and eventually I'll get that out. It's still in there and it's still in the works. I have it saved somewhere else. I'm working on it. Um, so she'll eventually show up, I'm sure. And then here, this part is the montage end scene. There's just so much happening that my system can't keep up. So this is pretty much 3 clips on top of each other, right? This is Modius on the right, which is this one down here. Here we have Lucy, right up here, and the girls are right here, Cerberus and the gang. So they're right on top of each other, I guess, on the timeline here. This is actually cropped. So Cerberus is right in the middle, and the clip itself has a crop here, crop right here. So this is crop left 19%, right 14%. And that way the sides here, the bottom clips can show up. So Cerberus actually is on top of these 2 clips, but with that crop, you kind of get rid of the sides, and then the bottom clips can show up. So you have Lucy on the left and Modius on the right. If I would redo this again and to fix this a little bit, I don't like how this gets cut off right here in the right. I would actually create a mask. Instead of using a crop, I will create a mask and trace it around this character here, going this way. I still want those notes and everything in between. So create it here, going this way, and then a crop here, starting from the bottom, because none of this black stuff matter. This is just a black background. The default black background that Adobe Premiere has. And then going around here, and then trying to get around that, because there still is one of those notes there. Either get rid of that note completely, as long as it doesn't cut her off, or try to go around it so precise that I can get her hair and I guess the smoke that comes out of her to actually show up on the video and not get cut off. So I would change that by making a mask right there. So going on. Yeah, this is like making my machine chug. There I have a fade across the solve for all 3 of those clips. They can fade out at different times with the song. And then we have my girl Beelzebub here. And it's just a loop for the ending. And that's pretty much it. Then I rendered the clip. After all that's done, I go ahead and render the clip and upload it to YouTube. But that's pretty much how it's done. If you want to do the simple loops and things like that, it's a real simple video. The hardest part is the retiming and getting those beats. Simple concept, but it's very time consuming because you constantly have to, first you have to create a loop and then you have to kind of make that loop hit the beats at certain points. And on this video is pretty simple compared to some other songs because this song kind of has a beat that goes on. It's a very well made beat. um, and simple to kind of follow. So it wasn't too hard to do it, but it was very time consuming because you can see some clips are 80%, 150% the speeds and durations. The retiming too is great, but sometimes if you make it too long, it's too slow. It makes the look too slow, which looks bad. Or if it's too short, it makes it too quick and it looks like she's just like freaking out, you know? So I did a lot of my retiming with the beats actually just by using the speed duration here and just really going up and down 5%, 10%, 20%, you know, until I just found that sweet spot where I was like, okay, this is hitting her left hip is hitting one beat, her right hip is hitting the other beat. Uh, I'm going to cut those two things and loop it. Boom. And then you have it. Okay? So I really hope this helped you in any ways or you found this entertaining. I'm sorry this kind of dragged on a little bit and it's kind of boring. Uh, but this was actually pretty exciting to make. And as you make it and you start seeing your project come to life and everything starts hitting and it sounds great, you know, and of course I love the Helltaker girls, so working with them is a pleasure. Um, then you start doing it to actually enjoy it. So uh, hopefully you guys have your ideas and bring them out to life. Adobe Premiere works great. It's a great program. It works great with GIFs as well, which is probably one of the best parts of it. It's probably the best video editor I've used with GIFs. Resolve does not work with GIFs, and then to turn it into other file formats, I've gotten issues with that. They don't look as smooth as the original GIFs or GIFs, however you want to say it, GIFs or GIFs, GIF, like Adobe Premiere does. It looks a lot smoother. I have never used Vegas for GIFs or GIFs, so not sure if that actually supports it. It probably does because Vegas kind of supports a lot of shit. Um, I don't know if it does MKVs. I think it does. But in any case, it's also a great program, but it doesn't have a lot of the features of retiming stuff that at least I know well with Adobe Premiere. It may have it, I don't know, but Vegas I never got too much into it because I got into Adobe Premiere and it has so many more features and things I can do with it. Just makes my life easier. Resolve does transitions very well, very easily and very streamlined, but it just doesn't support all the file formats that I currently need without doing a lot of micromanaging with using Handbrake or something to convert the files into a format that it likes, and then having to deal with it not looking as smooth or not converting correctly or dropping frames or it's looking or something like that. So Premiere is just the easiest. So I hope you learned something. I would like to see your projects if you have any. Uh, have fun, and I'll see you guys next time. Enjoy the music videos and anything else I make on this channel. Bye bye.